Choosing the right positioning for your brand is really the cornerstone of everything we do. From the content we create to the opportunities we take, from the products we choose to put in the market, from the opportunities that come our way, having a clear positioning statement with a clear messaging, all of these things are key. But sometimes we have so many ideas that choosing the right one thing can feel overwhelming. So I am on a mission to stop the overwhelm for you and help you find the right positioning for you when you have too many ideas swimming around in your head. Hello, my love. Welcome to Brand Confidence for Creatives. Are you feeling stuck in a cycle of overthinking, trying to build your brand? I'm Eugenia, but you can call me E. I'm a marketing and brand coach. I spent years stuck in the cycle of researching, hesitating, and hiding until I got clear on my voice and my message. In this podcast, I'll guide you through the strategies you need to get clear on what you want to say, build a personal brand that actually feels like you, and create consistent magnetic marketing. If you've ever thought, I know I have something to say, I just don't know how to say it, then you are in the right place. So grab your coffee and let's dive in. Simply put, positioning is the statement or the angle we are taking with our personal brand to tell the world what we are about, what we teach, what we are an expert on, what we create. Being positioned with something can be overwhelming for creatives, for sure, but it happens a lot when we have too much experience as well. And that definitely happened to me because I started my business just as a virtual assistant. And then as I also gained experience in my corporate career, I started incorporating all of these marketing skills and project management and media. And then I was also doing podcast production because I had that experience with podcasting and then content. So I felt like everything was so important that choosing just like the one thing felt like I was leaving behind things that were also really important. So I completely understand that your expertise, the more it grows, the more your perspective amplifies, you get more grounded as a human being. You see that there are so many factors that influence a decision or influence a result that it's hard to say, okay, this is the one thing I work on. And there are people charging hundreds of thousands of dollars to help other companies figure out what their thing is, right? The positioning. So I completely understand that challenge. I have been there myself, and positioning has been a work in progress, a refinement process, but for sure, everything makes sense. And I've been able to create a brand narrative, if you wish, that makes sense. And I want to help you do the same. First, you need to understand that you are not random, and sometimes your ideas feel random and you feel like you have so many ideas and you don't know how to connect it together or connect those ideas together. And that's one of the challenges when you are trying to get clarity around your positioning because you have all of these ideas. So instead of trying to eliminate all of the things, I would tell you to go deeper and see what do these things have in common, like trying to find the common denominator in all of the little areas of your expertise or the things that you want to create. And I promise you, because I've seen it with big, huge, multi 7-8 figure brands, I've seen it with new creator brands, that it all makes sense when you put it together. So first, I want to tell you, you are not random. So you can take a breath. And let's just go through these 5 tips to get clear on your brand positioning, even if you have too many ideas. Number 1, and these are going to be quick and to the point, is that your positioning statement should be short and to the point. So it should be, I help people with XYZ, like 2-3 words, 1 word, like what is the thing you help people with? And there's a method and there are certain elements. And I don't want to say that a positioning statement is super generic, but if you're just starting to figure it out, play with different words, different options, and try to see what feels right to you. Tip number 2 is that a person should get it during a conversation. And I was so guilty of doing the opposite. I was so guilty of overcomplicating it with words. And if I was explaining how my positioning was going to be, I would take 2 minutes to get to the point. Instead of saying, oh, I help you get clear on your positioning, I would just give like a whole life story. And it was just so hard to get. So practice how to say it in a conversational way, in a way that really feels true to the way you speak, and understanding that it's going to sound different in different contexts and with different audiences. Of course, I completely understand that you can go more nuanced and detailed if you are speaking to other experts in your industry versus if you're speaking to your aunt on Thanksgiving dinner. But for the most part, try to find how to make what you do conversational and understandable. And a great support team that you can recruit is ChatGPT, because with ChatGPT, you can really have a stream of consciousness, let's say on your phone. You record it, you get a transcript. I don't know all Android devices, but at least with iPhone, if you record a voice memo, they automatically transcribe it for you. So you can take that transcript and then paste it onto ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to help you find common themes, common denominators, and help you first make it simple and succinct, which was point number 1, but also make it conversational and make it sound like a real person speaking. Sometimes with ChatGPT, you have to feed it examples of how a person would speak, and you can do that by sending transcript of a voice memo you've sent. You can get creative here. The point is that you can have ChatGPT kind of dumb down your explanation to make it more understandable and relatable to people in a conversation at any level. Point number 3, which probably should have been point number 1, is to start with your messaging. And I have a lot of episodes around this, and I'm going to link some in the show notes. I did a whole workshop a couple of weeks ago exactly on messaging. And I love my CLEAR framework because it's clear and it's simple. But just to give you an overview of what it stands for, every letter of the acronym stands for, we have first the C of CLEAR, and that's your core audience. It doesn't have to be this one person and knowing what their Starbucks order is, but we need to know what do they have in common. Then for clear, we have L, and that's the lingering problem. That's a problem that's repeated, and because it's lingering, because it's causing an emotional impact, it's relevant to them and they want to solve it. It doesn't have to be a huge problem unless maybe you're a nonprofit and you really are trying to solve for big world issues. So don't feel like your problem is not enough. Like being bored in traffic, if you want to have a podcast on sports, that's a valid problem, but it has to be a lingering problem. Then on the clear framework, we have the E, and that's the enemy. And that's an external force, a system, a belief system, something that's creating the problem. That's the thing, the entity that we are up against, or that our audience, our core audience, is up against. That helps not get them off the hook necessarily, but just make them feel like not everything is their fault, that there's something out there that's also influencing the problem that they're experiencing. Next, in our clear framework, we have the A, and that's authority and empathy. We want to show up as leaders for our audience because we want to show them a better way of doing things, of enjoying something, of experiencing something. So empathy helps you say, hey, like, I get it. I understand. I've been there, whatever the case is. But authority says, I care too much about you to let you stay there. There is a better way. A lot of business owners, of creatives, are getting stuck in kind of in the friend zone because they never move from authority to empathy. So they are only in the, I get it, I get you, I was there, oh my gosh, I completely understand. And they never move into the whole, like, let's do something about it. I am the right person to take you there. And then finally, in the clear framework, we have the R, that stands for results, or result, rather, just one result, big result, and the transformation. And that is what changes. This section should speak directly to the problem, to a lingering problem. If we said that this is a problem this core audience is facing, our result and our transformation should directly address that problem. So the result is what happens externally, and the transformation is what's the internal shift. What happens inside of them, inside of this core audience, to make them different after they either engage with you, work with you, whatever is the most relevant way to complete it. Then you're going to have your full messaging. You can create a paragraph, you can make it short, you can make it long. This is really going to help you understand what it is that you're talking about. So if you have your thing already, if you have the general area, or if you even haven't been able to define this, maybe doing this step and then going back to ChatGPT and doing all the other steps is going to be super helpful, so you can determine what is it that you want to be positioned as, even if you have so many ideas. Point number 4 is to embrace the discomfort. It is a lie that you're going to get clear on your positioning and then everything else is going to make sense and it's going to fall into place like the ending of a Disney movie. Like, things don't happen like that. There are levels of comfortability. I don't know if comfortability is even a word, but the point is that we get clear, we take action, and then we have to practice and practice and practice and make it our field, right? Our core. I'm thinking basketball, where we are practicing those skills, that messaging, and we are finding what works for us, how comfortable we feel. So many times we find something, we say, and this has happened with so many coaching clients. We find something, we feel so excited, and then we go out there either to record a podcast or to put out content on social media, and then things feel like a little forced, or it doesn't feel like it rolls out of our tongues like super easily, and we think that maybe it's not the right thing, and not necessarily. I think whenever we choose a positioning that's clear and to the point, there's going to be some resistance, not because of anything wrong, just because it's a skill that we have to practice. When I created my clear framework, I was super excited. I knew it was great. I was like, I loved it, but it took me so many reps of me telling my husband, like, hey, look at this framework that I created. I told my coach, I started working on my workshop presentation, and I practice and practice and practice, put it in writing, put it on a slide, practice the best way to say it, created an example. Like, I've practiced saying that framework so much that now I feel super comfortable with going deeper with it and giving examples and coaching people on the fly with it, because I've put it out there so many times. But the first time that I came up with that framework, it didn't come across as easily. I had to go back to my notes, reread it, redefine some things, readjust some things. And that is normal. Don't think that things not feeling 100% comfortable is a sign that you are in the wrong, or that you landed in the wrong place with your positioning. And that takes me to my last point, which is, once you get clear on your positioning, start playing. And playing is testing. What can you test? You can test the language, you can test the rhythm of creation, you can test the best way to connect with your audience, what works best for you guys as you're building this relationship with your core audience. And by the way, there is a huge difference between trying and testing. And I want to bring it to this point because I don't want you to take away from this point that I want you to try new things. I want you to test, because when you have the mindset of trying, you are basically getting yourself off the hook early. You are saying, I'm going to quote unquote try this thing. And if it doesn't work, then it didn't work. On to the next, versus saying, I'm going to test what works. And test implies a series of experiments with a variable, things we are measuring to move forward. With a test is going to the lab and putting different potions to get potions. Oh my gosh. I said going to the lab, and in my mind I went to Harry Potter, and all the sciencey people are just like cringing in their in their cars right now listening to me. Well, I said yes, in the lab, mixing all your elements, all your chemicals together and trying to find the right solution. And you have an hypothesis, you make that test, and then Either it works and gives you the results you were expecting, or it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, you are in the lookout for a solution. So you go and test something else. I think the mindset of testing is so freeing because the mindset of trying already says that it has to work, because if it doesn't work, then it failed. Then it's a failed attempt. Versus testing says, okay, I am playing. I am a scientist. I am playing with this and I'm taking it seriously, of course, but I am okay with my hypothesis not being true at the end. And once you have your positioning, your messaging, and those things are clear and you are willing to not feel 100% comfortable, then you go into all this series of tests, and those are the things that are going to give you feedback. Because sometimes we get frustrated because we choose, we have the messaging, we chose the very simple way to put it out there. We are really working on our mindset, and then we put out a post and the post doesn't resonate, and then we say, oh no, then this positioning doesn't work. And that is because we have a trying mentality. I'm going to try to put up a post and see who bites. No, you test language, you test mediums, and you start crafting the right mix of elements. The longer you spend testing all these avenues for your messaging, for your positioning, the more input you're going to get, the more information, and you're going to reach a point where you're just going to know what your audience is going to respond to. And I remember that happened with a huge client, international personal brand. She just knew what her people were going to respond to when she put up a story. Like, she would put up a poll, and she didn't know what her audience was going to say when it came to the poll, but she knew that she had to phrase the poll in a certain way in order to get her audience to respond. She knew that her audience was going to respond to a particular way of phrasing the question versus another way. And I thought that was such a genius way of getting to know your audience after years of relationship building, after years of creation, after years of really honing in your positioning, that you get to a point where you know what is going to make your audience respond or what's going to resonate with them. So to recap all these 5 tips is, number 1, your positioning statement should be short and to the point. Number 2, a person should get it during a conversation. Number 3, start with your messaging. Number 4, embrace the discomfort. And number 5, once you get clear in your positioning, start playing. I want to see you going from trying and considering all the options to choosing, to committing, and to having fun with the brand that you are building. And tag me on your posts. I want to see them. Send them to me on Instagram if you're creating on Instagram, or send me an email if there's a particular email you're proud of. I want to see how those statements are getting out there. I am really, really excited for you. And I know you can build an incredible brand that opens up so many opportunities for you, that really furthers your career, your personal brand. You don't even know, you haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg of everything that's possible, but you need to choose, you need to commit, and then you have to test. I see you soon on the next episode. Un beso. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you loved it, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to a friend who's also trying to grow their brand without losing themselves in the process. Remember that sharing is caring. Real talk, I used to overthink every post too. So if this episode gave you a little aha moment, just know you are not behind. You are building something real. See you back here soon for the next episode. Un beso.